Hey guys, let's go over some information on crimped cartridge cases and swaging. There's a lot of different ideas out there about what the crimps are, how deep they are, what it takes to remove them. There's several different tools out there. I created one for the Hornady AP press. Looks different. I say it works different, but it really doesn't, because the nuts and bolts of it, they all take out the same crimp. The one I've got the little black ring around has not been swaged. There's the go gauge from a primer pocket. It will not go in it. Alright. You can see the crimp on these WCCs is off to one side. They're crimped a little crooked. You're going to see a direct correlation with that ridge from where they're crimped. Here's the thing. A lot of guys think that it crimps through the whole pocket. Well, it doesn't, because if it did, it'd crush the entire primer. The inside of this pocket past this lip, and that lip's no thicker than your thumbnail, where that crimp pushed over top of it. It's real simple. The rest of this is still standard. It's going to be 0.173 every single time. That's your standard pocket for small primer. A lot of people have contacted me saying that they don't understand how mine works, because these type, used for the single stage, there's a couple of different brands here. I want to show you something. That nose on that one, 170. My go gauge, standard, 173. That 173 will not go in. But yet, that's a guide. Goes right in. This bevel right here, that's what swages. Rest of it doesn't matter. Here's a different brand. That nose goes right in, because again, it's a guide. Bevel, that's the part that actually does your swaging. This one, $172. That is not what is swaging your primer pocket. Again, only that bevel is. Now some brands, they're exactly 173. And on those single stages, those are the ones that stick really bad. So, again, they all go into the unswaged one. Yet my go gauge does not. These have been swaged with my swage system. Direct correlation. There's your crimp. Again, it's crooked. You can see where it took that ridge out, which is all that's required. Again, you're spreading that brass. It's only the thickness of your thumbnail. You go around, it's not that it's missing anything. It's in a direct correlation of what actually had to be swaged. The rest of it's just going to sit there. Here's another one, identical. Crimp line. You can see where it removed it. Spin it around. You barely see anything. Both of those goes right in with my go gauge. Don't overthink swaging, because it's really fairly simple. It's just some of the companies out there have made products, they swage, absolutely, but some of the single stage ones, the issue with it is that they stick really bad, and you got to use a stripper on the single stage to do it. Mighty Armory, which is this one, they realized that this is just a guide. That's not the part that swages, but that's the part on the ones that are exactly 173 that tend to stick, among other reasons. Part of it's machining, they're not polished well. Theirs is polished very well. On the single stages, theirs works excellent. But again, this is the swage end of it. My product works the same. Right there it is. The bevel, where a lot of you guys are thinking that it's not swaging before you even check it, is because only about this much of the tip of it's going to go in. It doesn't bury all the way up. I have no way of making a positive stop for the Hornady AP press. Reason being is because when this pushes up, it works the opposite of all the other presses, because you're trying to push the handle forward to push this thing up. Works just fine, but there's a lot of tolerance variances in the AP press shafts. So there's a lot of movement on some and not as much on others. And if I tried to put a positive stop on there, some would swage well and some would not. I tried it, it didn't work. Came up with just a more simple idea. Again, only about this much of it's going to go in. These have been swaged with that one. You can see it does go in. Doesn't go in far, that's by design. Does a perfect job. Main thing is, because it doesn't have a positive stop, is you just have to get used to the amount of pressure that it takes and keep consistent with it. It's just that simple. They absolutely work. Every one of these, before I ship them out, they are put on my press, and I swage 2 to 3 cases with them and check them with my case gauge, or the pocket gauge. They're all tested before they leave. They do work. I understand that, you know, sometimes it's hard to get a feel for that pressure. You know, it's something that you have to kind of practice with. Once you do, they work absolutely beautiful. It opens up what you can do on the AP press, because now you can, again, you can size, deprime, you know, and swage it all in one session. And again, if you flare your cases, you know, with a separate die, you can do that in the same process. Just a matter of getting used to it, guys. Just a different mousetrap. So I hope this helps, because like I said, there's a lot of misconceptions about swaging and what it actually is. It's actually a really simple process. It's just way overthought. Guys, I hope this helps. Again, I hope you enjoy my products. I hope this explains it better than my original video does. And I hope you enjoy everything. Guys, happy reloading. Hey guys, Randall here, Braggin Rice Precision. Hope everybody is having a wonderful day. Okay, hopefully you've already seen the introduction video, which also has some basics on how to install the product. Now we're going to get down to the nuts and bolts of an easy video for installation. I've already previously discussed in this video the differences in the way that my swage tools work on the AP press versus the single stage styles and the differences in them. They do work very well. It just takes a little bit of practice, as explained. So let's get down to it. Alright, very simple system. Large and small swager, case rider, and a concave sea washer. Very simple. I know you can't see all of this at the top of the video. You're going to remove the fiberglass rod, plastic centering cap, primer tube. Obviously you want to make sure that you've already got your primers out, otherwise you're going to play 50 primer pickup. Remove the explosion tube. Remove your return spring, the primer slide, remove the slide itself. Go ahead and loosen the base. Just about a full turn or so is all it takes. Raise your ram. And go ahead and remove the primer anvil. Now, my threads are already nice and clean. These things have a tendency to get powder built up around them on the threads. They get gunked up. Stuff sits in there like concrete. Gets up in the threads under the base plate. Our swagers are threaded perfectly. They should screw in with your fingers if they do not, which is common and why I keep a tap at all times, because I change mine around a lot. It's a 5/16 by 24 tap. Just run it up through the threads. That'll clean them up, and that's the only way to get them truly clean. Works very well. Use a little WD-40, whatever you want with it. Again, small anvil. That's what we're going to be swaging. Or small swager, I should say. Should screw right in with your fingers. Getting ahead of myself before you screw that all the way in. Go ahead and slide in your case rider. It will not slide in if you install the swager first. Just snug it. Does not have to be super tight. Push in on the edge of your case slider. All this does is keeps the case from falling down in the hole where your primer slide would normally be. And this just simply tightens down to it. Does not have to be overly tight once again. And that's all there is to the base installation, other than this nifty little washer. Pull your spring up, slide that in, drop it. It's concave just so that spring kind of holds it in. A lot of these presses, they're cut extra deep right there where that spring sets. It allows your base plate to sit a little low. And when that happens, it'll allow the primer slide to catch on it. And that's why I've got mine notched. And all this does is raise it up to fix that, and you can leave that in even when you go back to actual loading, and it should solve that problem. But also, my swager needs to stick up a little bit farther, so just a few thousandths to make it work properly. A little washer takes care of it. Sweet and simple. So now, let me change camera angles. So now everything's installed. Everything should be working. Push forward. Your swager pops up. Not a problem. I like using a case feeder. So there we're sizing, depriming. Now here's the trick. You have to get used to, again, as explained in the beginning of the video, how much pressure to put on this. It doesn't take a lot. You don't have to break your handle off. You just got to get used to it. Push fairly solid a couple of times. All you're doing is trying to push that little ring back. Doesn't take a lot. But again, you're trying to spread brass. And if you get one that sticks like that one just did, You will get that occasionally because these have sealer on the primers. You really should clean that off. See how that one did? Just rock it. Don't use force because you'll break a pawl. No need for that. Worst case scenario, do that right there, it'll come right loose. And it's just that simple. And let's face it, nothing comes without a few quirks. Gauges are going to go right in. Easy peasy. Again, check that you've got the full swage before you start inserting primers. I definitely suggest having a primer pocket gauge. If not, you can always use old primers and see how easily they go in. That way you're not wasting new primers. We all know how much they cost. So make sure you get a feel for the pressure that it takes to swage it properly, because they do work properly. If they are not fully swaged, you are not putting enough pressure on it. It's just that simple. Again, everything comes with a few quirks. This one's very minor. Sure beats the heck out of using a single stage, having to use a stripper tool because they stick. I know most of us have experienced that. Not a lot of fun. Everything will work great. And again, opens up your processes on your AP press, you know, especially being able to size, deprime, swage, bell the mouth, and if you use a case feeder, boy, that sure is nice too. Speeds up the process. Game changer. Guys, again, I hope you guys have a blessed day. Happy reloading.